Alright, hello everyone, my name is Osborne and this is my submission for Skater Gator 3D into AGDQ 2024. It is a wonderful platformer slash skating game where you play as a gator, and that is pretty much the entire thing to it. And so right here we're going to be analyzing the 924 that I have, which at the time of recording is the current world record. It is a wonderful game, incredibly satisfying to speedrun and incredibly satisfying to watch too. It's going to be amazing for the audiences, and with some really cool incentive options as well. There's going to be timestamps in the description with specific things that I think is really important that you should see. But as a matter of fact, I think you should see the whole run though, because it's at its whole an amazing run, an amazing experience to watch as well, especially with how small of a run it is. And so we're going to go straight into the first level. We're going to be starting directly from the first level, not from like a new game or anything like that, and just do every single level back to back. That's kind of how we time everything. And so without further ado, let's get into it. So starting with level 1, get that deed back. We're already introduced to a few simple mechanics. That's grinding on rails and dashing. Essentially, when you press the X button on my controller, every time you're on a rail, you can dash and gain a bit more speed every time you do that. And that also applies on lands too, when you're not grinding on rails all the time. And so as you can see there, we built up some momentum and we were able to take a shortcut here along these logs and go around and go to like more of a secret area. It's not really secret, but you have to go out of your way there in order to skip a lot of platforming. Going back on grinding on the rails and using these boost pads to get as much momentum as we can and keep that going as much as we possibly can. And that is the end of level 1. Already you can see, and we're going to get into it more here with these rails, that whenever you dash on a rail, you gain a little bit more speed, but also it's really tight. You can't jump and you can't move from one rail to another when you're actively in the middle of a dash. And so you want to be able to time your dashes incredibly precisely while still maintaining momentum and not bumping into anything on the rails. That's one of the harder things to do, and kills a lot of like really small ILs and stuff like that. Right here, we're going to be introduced to a glitch known as Teledashing, and it does that. Essentially, when you're on a boost pad and you pause, the game will actively be building up speed as you are paused. So once you let go of the pause button, or once you unpause, you're able to just immediately boost forward along really long planes. So right here is another good example of like really tightly timing all of your dashes in order to get as much speed as possible and keep the momentum. We're going to be doing another teledash from here over to the end of the level. We're going to be, we essentially teledash straight into the rails because the game will lock you to the rails once you're on it, which is really convenient for us. And that is the end of Daytime Bog. Sundown Duel. Now, Sundown Duel is a boss level. It is almost completely comprised of rails as we fight this, what is now known to us as a mysterious gator. And why did they steal the deed to our house? We don't know. But all we know is that we are here and we need to fight them. This is the end of the first like daytime levels. And you can see that I'm quickly dashing back and forth in order to getting as much speed as I can off of these boost pads while avoiding the attacks that he's giving me. So while the attacks, some of them might slow you down, some of them might not. They will almost always take damage from you and take away your health. And so you need to make sure that you're timing your dashes pretty well and also jumping to avoid any possible damage he could give you. Right here, we're going to go to Sunset Swamps. Now we're in the evening levels. A specific thing that I have been doing a lot that I may not mention is right up here. You're going to see me dash and then jump. That is called a super jump. Essentially, you get a little bit more height when you do a super jump. It's essentially just jumping right after you dash. The timing for it is a little bit more precise than you might think, but it's definitely like an intended mechanic and has a lot of really good uses in the speedrun. For example, right here, to just keep maintaining momentum and gain enough height to go across here and get enough distance to cut through the back end of that wall in order to get onto these rails immediately. And so now we're going to go straight into a shocking alley. That was a really good Sunset Swamps. As you can see, it was a gold. And so a shocking alley is another evening time level that introduces a actually really cool mechanic known as the Eels, in which every time you have it's a power-up that allows you to attack enemies. Every time you change rails, it throws forward a bolt of lightning, and also every time that you dash, it protects you. Right there is another teledash that allows us to skip a significant amount of rail grinding and go immediately into that rail portion. And now we're going to go straight into the next section, in which the majority of it is rail grinding and again timing your dashes as tightly as you can. But right here we're going to go to the very end, and you want to avoid as much of the fire and lava. If you stay on those hot rails for too long, you're going to get burned. If you touch the fire, obviously you're going to get burned. So the movement here is actually really tight if you want to do it optimally. You can go. Most of us choose to go around the fire. You can actually go through the two flamethrowers there, sticking off either side of the wall. It's really precise though. So now we're gonna go into Twilight Town, a more of an open level, but still with a more linear aspect. We're gonna do this, in which we super jump and dash across this tire. Get second try here, and we're able to skip pretty much half of the entire level because the level loops back in on itself, and so we're able to go straight to the end through those rails right there. So that was a really good Twilight Town. And now we're going to do Bee-ware of Foes. Again, it's mainly bees. A little of a plot update. You know, these are mechanical bees created by the enemy that we saw in Sundown Duel, and we're on our way to, you know, find the deed that they stole from us. And so right now we're going to be going across here. The eel works as a huge protection source from all those cannons and those bees right there. And we're going to bring another teledash here to the end of this section where we want to start on these rails and just keep jumping so you can land on each and every one of those boost pads and keep the momentum going. We're going to be going onto this mushroom, jumping around and going straight to those pads right here. You want to head to the end and just keep dashing along these rails while jumping in order to avoid getting damaged by these hot rails. The hot rails, if you're on them for too long, will damage you. But you can avoid that just by jumping, and so it'll reset any amount of time or any amount of damage built up so that you don't get hurt by them. So yeah, that is Bee-ware of Foes. Now we're going to go straight into Fight Till the Night, which is the second boss level of this game. And it's going to be the end of like the evening levels. And next we're going to go straight into the night levels after this. But as per usual, the boss levels are almost completely on rails. And right here, since we have unlocked a new mechanic, which is the Eels, as well as realizing how the boss works, how the attack works, we're actually able to damage the boss, and we're gonna be able to use that later. As you can see here, this is actually one of the levels that is really precise, but also has a more of a viable theoretical human limit because you were able to get to a certain limitation as to how many times you can dash in each and every rail that you see. But you're gonna be seeing me trying to route my dashes in as much as I can. It's really tight windows here. And at the end, you can use the eel in order to avoid getting hit by all of the enemy's attacks. And now we're going to go straight into the nighttime levels, starting with Midnight Mire. Fight Till the Night, that's done. That's the second boss done with. Another cutscene skip right there. And now we're going to go straight into Midnight Mire. Use this pad in order to boost pad on the rail in order to immediately go towards the other end here. And now we're going to be introduced to another really cool mechanic known as wings. And so we're going to be growing wings every time you collect one of these things right here. It allows you to it's essentially a double jump. It doesn't really do much for like actually gliding in the air, but it is a nice double jump that you have. Of course, these double jumps are limited, but we do some amazing skips and tech with them while they're available. So including this one. So we're going to take this wing and then teledash with this boost pad, and then that allows us to skip over to the rail, and you can move on 2 rails if you have a wing, but originally you're supposed to go through like a whole other rail and platforming process in order to get the rail. But if you just save a wing, you can perform that skip, and we're actually going to use that wing in order to jump over the bounce pads and jump over the grass in order to immediately stay on the same rail instead of having to move back and forth. So yeah, that is Midnight Mire, a solid 50-second time. And now we're going to go into Pollution Panic. We're just going to let these bounce pads do us where we want to go because we can't do any more dashes. Like it doesn't really like speed them up to avoid them. And so right here we're going to be collecting some more wings, and these wings, they're meant to be used to like jump from one wing to the other, but we're actually going to preserve these wings for a specific purpose, and that purpose at the end is actually going to be pretty prevalent with another teledash. And so we're going to be going onto this boost pad, saving the wings. You do not want to be jumping in midair. If you do, it'll kind of screw everything up. We're going to be taking that damage because, again, we can't jump. And so we're going to teledash off this one and then immediately use your wings. And because when you teledash, the game is going to immediately start pulling you back. And so when you use your wings, it'll let go of all the momentum, and you can just stay at the end and go forward without having to fall back into the swamp or further back into the level. You can just end immediately there, and those wings are really important. So now we're going to go into the final level, which is called the Factory, and again, really tight platforming and really tight dashing here. But the Factory actually has a really huge skip that's going to be coming up right here. It skips half, if not most, of the level, but we need a wing for it, and so we're going to be doing grabbing a wing right here, dashing over to this dash pad, and immediately teledash in order to get onto these barrels. Going to do a super jump onto the top barrel right here, and then do another super jump, and at the peak of this super jump we're going to use the wings to get onto this platform, and that skips so much of the level. It is free if you know how to do it. I used to struggle with it a lot. We're going to be jumping onto these boost pads and preserving as much momentum as we can throughout the rest of the level while avoiding stuff like those oil slicks or enemies that are on the rails. And so we're actually really close to the end of the run here. After the Factory, we're just going to be going onto these pads, and we're going to be getting what we think is the deeds to our house, but we can't finish the game yet. There's still a boss to beat. And so now we're going to go into the final boss, in which we're going to fight Trader Gator himself. His name is finally revealed to us. And so this boss, you're actually going to be seeing me do very minimal dashes here. The reason being is because there's one phase of this boss. However, it is still possible to kill the boss within that one phase. Every time you have the eel, we're able to move back on to, every time that you move onto the rail, a bolt of lightning gets shot forward. And so you want each and every bolt of lightning to hit Trader Gator. And so if you move back and forth, you can do multiple bolts of lightning at the same time onto the same rail, like so. But earlier we were doing it in really quick ways that weren't necessarily intended, but allowed us to do it much quicker. You want to jump over this boost pad so that you don't get shot forward, because if you get shot forward, he'll jump onto the next boost pad and you won't be able to get the fast cycle. And that is time. That is pretty much it. That is Trader Gator done. That is the first quick cycle of we got it on the first quick cycle, so that's really cool. That's really convenient, and it's really quick to do. And so I highly recommend checking out this run and allowing it to be seen in front of an audience, because it's a really amazing run, and it's really quick, really fun to do, fun to watch, and has impeccable movement, has impeccable gameplay, both for casuals and for speedrunners alike, and for people to see speedrunners do. Right here, we're going to destroy the factory with Trader Gator in it, and we have freed all of the other animals in the land, including the rats that were hiding all in trash cans you might have seen. And so we are going to become friends with Trader Gator again, because he survived the blast, and he's gonna help us. Get the town back in order. So yeah, that is Skater Gator 3D. Yeah, that's pretty much all from me. My name is Osborne. Again, I highly recommend checking this run out and allowing it to be in the marathon, because it's really good. And so yeah, that's all. Skater Gator 3D, any %. Thanks for watching.